Peter Keegan, congratulations on your appointment as the President of the American Chamber of Commerce in Ireland for 2013. Later this morning in Dublin, you will host a press conference to outline your priorities as you see it for the Chamber this year and directing foreign direct investment. What are they?
Well, thank you, Brian, and what I say, it's a great honour to have been appointed as President of the Chamber for 2013. When you look at the circumstances in which Ireland finds itself, the government is implementing a recovery programme. We've had 5 successive austerity budgets, and the government is making difficult decisions around expenditure cuts and tax raising. My priority as President of the Chamber will be to try and make sure that government decisions do not impair the critical factors that have led to the success of the FDI industry in Ireland to date. And we don't unnecessarily damage our competitiveness in our ability to win new mandates and to protect the existing jobs that we have. In the Chamber, we have identified the 3 pillars upon which our success to date has been built: of tax, of talent and competitiveness. And my priority will be to make sure that we constantly reappraise our offering under each of those 3 pillars, and that we don't do anything to impair them. I think it was interesting when the IDA launched their 2012 report last week. I read 2 key messages out of that report. One was our continued success in winning new mandates, 145 projects announced. I thought it was really pleasing to see that over 40% of those were from companies establishing for the first time in Ireland. But also 12,700 jobs created, a net 6,500 new jobs, the highest for 3 years, the lowest level of job losses for 10 years. So we are still in a very good competitive position. But the second key message I think that we heard from the IDA was ever-growing competition. The IDA specifically identified the UK, Switzerland and the Netherlands as being companies who are very, very competitive in the FDI space. So the priority is to make sure that we're not complacent, that we continuously critically appraise our offering, and we stay focused on making sure that we keep the attractiveness of Ireland as a place to locate foreign direct investment right at the upper end of the competition.
That's interesting because in your career you've gained considerable experience, most recently in your role, in your current role as country executive for Bank of America Merrill Lynch. What insight or perspective do you think that will bring to you in your role as the voice of foreign direct investment in Ireland this year?
Well, Bank of America Merrill Lynch in Ireland actually has a fairly diverse range of operations, which gives me insight into the cost pressures, into skills pressures, into the tax regime, into the regulatory regime for IFSC companies. And also we operate a city centre site here in Dublin, we have a suburban site here in Dublin, and we have a regional site up in Carrick-on-Shannon. So the diversity of what we do gives me a lot of insight into a broad range of issues that face multinational companies operating in Ireland. After spending 9 years in London, I returned to Ireland in 1996 when Merrill Lynch was just opening up its operation here. So I've also spent 10 years working in a site from startup right through to growing it to be a company employing hundreds of people. So I hope to combine that experience of operating here. I'm also fortunate in my career to have worked while predominantly in Ireland and the UK. I've also spent time working in Portugal, in Belgium, in Germany. So that international perspective, both from companies we compete with for FDI and the markets that we export to, I think allows me to bring a fairly broad range of insight into the position. And when I combine that with the extra insight I gain through participating with the Chamber, if you look at the strength of the board of the US Chamber, we have representatives from right across the sectors: ICT, life sciences, financial services, new digital media companies, and we also have board members who operate sites not only here in Dublin, but also in Cork, Limerick, Sligo, Donegal. So a critical part of my activity with the Chamber is also learning from those other sectors and those other locations about what the challenges, what the strengths and weaknesses in the offering is. So bringing all of that together, I hope allows me to represent the membership very well and to articulately express their views.
In the context of what you mentioned regarding international and competitiveness, taxation regimes and headline rates of tax are very much in the eye at the moment in the last couple of months and years. And the Irish government has been steadfast in its defence of the Irish taxation regime with its 12.5% tax. Why is that so important, and what are the benefits that that brings to Ireland?
Well, a low corporation tax rate has been a cornerstone of Irish economic policy for many years now. The government understand the benefits that brings to the economy, which are substantial. I mean, 700 US companies operating in Ireland, 115,000 directly employed in those companies, many more indirectly benefiting from those jobs. The amount of corporation tax, payroll taxes, even the CSR activities of our multinational companies in Ireland, all of these benefits are huge for the Irish economy. The government recognises the importance not only of the low corporation tax rate, but also of ensuring there's certainty around that regime continuing. And I welcome the government's repeated stance that 12.5% is our corporation tax rate and it will remain our corporation tax rate. And that certainty is very important. Companies who are looking to set up sites in other locations are looking at a multi-year horizon. So it's very important that not only do they understand the regime today, but they know that that regime will continue into the future.
The government and the Taoiseach has stated an ambition that Ireland becomes the best small country in the world to operate a business in by 2016. What are the next steps, as you see it, to move along that path towards that goal?
Of the three pillars that we identify as underpinning our success, talent, I think we recognise, is the one that's most important to continue and to improve in our economic performance. So we have seen some improvements recently in directing people into the right areas in the education system, into the STEM courses. We welcome Minister Quinn's initiative to award bonus points for maths. We can see a fairly instant response to that initiative. So it is very important that we continue to focus on talent development, that we have the right education system. It's fit for the needs of industry and the economy, not only today, but in the next wave of industry that we hope to attract into Ireland. In addition to that, Ireland has to be an attractive place for people to work. Talent is mobile. It is very important that not only can we attract in talent where we need it, but just as important, that we have the right conditions in Ireland that allows us retain our own indigenous talent. And that's very important. We know that talent is mobile, it will work around, talent will move around the world, and unless we have the right conditions here in Ireland to retain that talent, we're not going to succeed.
You seem fired up. Are you looking forward to the year?
I am, absolutely. I think we have a wonderful membership, world-class companies. We have great people who are passionate about their sites in Ireland and making them successful. I'm very honoured to be in this position, and I look forward to engaging with government and you and your team right through the year.
Peter Keegan, thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian.